It's the most talked about rivalry in South African motorsport today. 13-time national champion Michael Stephen going head-to-head with last year's runner-up Gennaro Bonafide in the battle for outright honours in Sasol GTC.
Yeah, 2017's been a fantastic year. Didn't start off great, but really been a good year. Lots of on-track battles.
And in last year we had a lot of good momentum coming into this year, and that proved itself worthy in the first 3 rounds. We've got the experience, we've got the pace, we've got the talent, we've got the team behind us. And then it became a battle.
It's been a season full of race-winning domination.
Probably the most demon trait is the fact that he can score points when he needs to.
He's always been fast, and he's always been a threat.
An intense, drama-filled rivalry.
Mike is a wily old fox. We know that he will do anything to win.
I don't think I'm a dirty driver, but every now and again accidents happen.
They've scored more wins and pole positions than any other all year, but it isn't over yet.
We lost our lead in the championship, and we've had to go everything against the wall and give it the beans. You know what I mean? It's been tough. He's just been in the right place at the right time.
My strength compared to his is sort of picking up, out of a bad place back to winning ways, and I think that comes with experience.
I really felt throughout the year that this was the year that we can really fight and win, and it's never easy to beat Michael.
Never stop learning, never stop trying, never stop giving 100%.
It all comes down to the final 2 races of 2017.
This is all swings and roundabouts. We still have a fantastic mathematical chance at the win. It's not going to be easy, knowing Michael's consistency, but we're going to give it everything.
We're going for the number 1 on the door, and that's all that really counts.
It's time to crown our Sasol GTC champion. After 8 gripping months of racing, we have arrived at the grand finale of the Sasol GTC Championship, and of all the days our drivers face a wet track at Zwartkops Raceway. In GTC 2 we need to settle 2nd and 3rd outright after Keegan Masters won last round. And that man Michael Stephen could get his 2nd Sasol GTC crown if all goes to plan today. Let's check out qualifying from yesterday. In GTC 2 it was the Volkswagens up front, with Mandla Batakani grabbing pole ahead of newcomer Juan Gerber, who's in the old Comsol Racing VW raced by Ian Stevenson. In Sasol GTC the whole field qualified within half a second of each other, which was just incredible. Daniel Rowe scored his best quali result of the year in 2nd, while Michael Stephen dominated with his 3rd pole. But where is Gennaro Bonafide? Well, the prop shaft broke in practice 3. The team just managed to repair the BMW in time for qualifying. Gennaro eventually got out on track, but will start a disappointing 6th. Philippa caught up with our pole sitters.
Michael Stephen, your 3rd pole position for 2017, but you can't get any more important than getting pole this weekend as you're fighting for that title.
Yeah, over the moon. Practice 3 didn't quite go according to plan. We were struggling for pace a little bit. We sort of knew what the problem was, but weren't sure. So going into a qualifying session like this, not really knowing, it's a bit of a lottery, but really happy with the result. Getting that fastest lap in qualifying, you've now earned an extra 5 points, and that's all important for you to just finish that first race to get the championship number 1. Yeah, I don't like preempting things, but certainly a good way to start the weekend. We'll go race 1 starting in the best position possible and see what happens. Mandla Batakani, you got the first pole position in GTC 2 for 2017 and the final one. Congratulations, great effort.
Thank you very much. I guess it's been an up and down day, up and down season, but I guess it's good to start off the last event of the year on a good note, and I guess we just bring back home more trophies and we see how close we end up at the end of the day.
All right, enjoy starting from that front row.
Thank you very much.
And rain galore here at Zwartkops Raceway. Torrentially wet conditions as we get set for race 1 in Sasol GTC in our final round. Despite that, a great crowd on hand today to catch the action. Here's how the points stand now. There's still a bit to play out in this. The pressure is well and truly on Gennaro Bonafide. He's on the grid chatting to Philippa.
Gennaro Bonafide, starting 6th position wasn't challenging enough. These weather conditions are atrocious.
Yeah, look, it's going to definitely be a challenge. It's the rain is always a leveler, so for sure we're going to have a go and have some fun. I normally enjoy racing in the rain. Anything can happen, and we're here to have a go and see how far we can go.
All right, go get him, G.
Let's go.
He's got some work to do, Gennaro Bonafide. There's his team boss, Vic Maharaj. The BMWs will need to be on the pace today. Here's Zwartkops Raceway, 2.4 kilometres, just the 8 corners. It's a quick little lap here, but it's full of excitement. And in our 2 previous visits this year, we have seen some unbelievable motor racing. So Michael Stephen on pole. It's a record qualifying lap here for GTC cars as well, 103.46. Daniel Rowe goes from second. That's a personal best qualifying performance for him. Simon Moss and Johan Ferré next. Gennaro Bonafide has it all to do. He'll start from P6. So there's lots to fight out in the Sasol GTC field. In GTC2, Mandla Madikani bookends his season. He was on pole for our opening round of the championship at Killarney Raceway in Cape Town. He's on pole for our finale here at Zwartkops, but this GTC2 field will be very, very competitive indeed, and there is a huge championship fight for second, third and fourth in GTC2. So these are the toughest conditions of all, and for the first time this year we go racing in the rain in Sasol GTC Africa. The rolling start as usual. The red lights are on. When they go off, we go racing for the penultimate time this year. It's a great start for the Volkswagen down the inside at turn 1. Daniel Rowe will take the lead. Michael Stevens slots in behind. How cautious will car number 1 be in this motor race? Because he's got a championship to win, and his closest rival is quite a way down the field. He's got a good run out of turn 2 and goes up the inside of the sweeper at 3, and Rowe already relegated back. Simon Moss in the mix in car 38, and would you just look at the spray. If you're behind, say, Johan Ferré there in 4th place, you're not seeing a whole lot as you barrel up the hill into the right-hander. Here's Matt Hodges, Van Rooyen in behind. Clean start though, everyone done well. Madikani still leading the way in GTC2. Under brakes and off the road goes Rowe. Just locked the front brakes into the right-hander. It's an uphill braking zone there. He was the pioneer. He was the first one to go in and judge the conditions, and now Bonafide has found himself in the same problem. Understeers a little bit wide and drops off the road. And now Simon Moss is looking aggressive. You wouldn't have thought his teammate would put up too much of a fight in this one, especially with Bonafide running wide, and you can bet that the Terry Moss Racing team will be on the radio straight away to their championship contender to let him know what is going on and where Gennaro Bonafide is running. Right now, he's in behind his teammate Robbie Wobb. No, he's not, because he's off the road. It's just getting worse for Gennaro Bonafide. Have a look at the visibility there too. Car number 32 Mind in the field. Trevor Bland has been served by Daniel Rowe, who dropped off the road, so he's on a recovery drive as well. And this will be a look. So it's almost impossible to judge where your braking points are because you're caught in the spray in the middle of the field. And he just gave Bland a big serve there up into turn 2. Fortunately, TB was able to continue onwards. Daniel Rowe, unfortunately, hasn't gone to plan in the opening lap and a half of his penultimate race of the season. The Audis are 1 and 2. Johan Ferré is in the mix, and that was his view looking out the front of the EPS Couriers car. GTC2. Good start for Mandla Madikani. The 2 signature minis just following in close company. Here are our race leaders. And this is a good, close, competitive fight now with Michael Stephen under pressure. Some damage for Rowe, so that hit with Trevor Bland has just pulled the wheel fairing off. A little extension to the guard that allows them to run a wider front track on these cars, get a bit more tyre under the guards. It is a bolt-on component. Unfortunately, it has been dislodged. And now Moss with a great run out of the final corner. Looks down the inside of Michael Stephen, and that will be the race lead. So one Engen Audi takes the place of another, and now Johan Ferré puts the pressure on Michael Stephen. 2 of the most experienced guys in the field, and just a little bit of a love tap there from the BMW perhaps. Just listening to the throttle application out of turn 2 there. Very ginger on the right foot, Michael Stephen, trying to put the power to the ground in these very wet conditions. Bit of standing water on the inside of some of the corners as well, and that will incite some aquaplaning where the car just gets on top of the water and starts sliding. It's like what happens when you put a canoe in a river. You don't have a huge amount of control. So Moss now pulling away. His car is looking very, very good in these wet conditions. Stephen under pressure. And then there's quite a margin back to the Sasol BMW of Bonafide, who's got Van Rooyen in behind him. And now Ferrari will look down the inside here. This quick change of direction. Quite a fast left-hand kink, then down the hill into the final corner. And car 14, a winner finally, last time out. And Johan gets himself up into second place. So Michael Stephen is playing the conservative game. It's pretty clear to see. Have a look at the cars just sliding around, trying to put their 400 horsepower to the ground. Here's the fight for GTC 2 now. Daniel Rowe still mired in the middle of this after his adventures off the road early on. And now Brad Liebenberg looks to the outside of Mandla Matakani. Some cars running their windscreen wipers, some have gone the Rain-X option, so the water beads and slides off the window. Liebenberg sliding through the big puddle of water that's on the exit curb, but this is brave stuff. Around the outside, that's a great move. Great bit of driving there for Brad Liebenberg. And the front-wheel drive cars will behave really well in these wet conditions. And that's why Daniel Rowe is finding it so difficult to work his way past. Here's Chris Shorter. A little bit of an adventure wide in the second of the Signature Motorsport cars. So there really is a pressure cooker battle on for second, third and fourth in the championship. And at the midway point of the season, that Signature team said, right, we've now got these cars developed. We want to go out after P2 in the championship, which given their start to the season, would be an enormous accomplishment. And those two brand new cars, well, they're on course, they're applying the pressure. Trevor Bland has got to score decent points in these two races to hold on to P2. This is a really good fight now. An over move. And Matty Hodges, who, like Johan Ferrari, had a bit of a breakthrough weekend last time out at Kyalami. Too far away from where we're racing now. A couple of podium finishes there for car 57. The Volkswagen squad were in form. Robbie Walker's under pressure now. And Hodges looking down the inside at turn one. Bonafide's a spectator here. He's watching the two of these. But from the moment that prop shaft broke in practice 3 yesterday here at Zwartkops, you felt like Gennaro was fighting a championship battle with one arm tied behind his back. Hodges now up the inside of Walk. Gets that position done. Nice overtaking manoeuvre. Bonafide watches on. I wonder if Robbie Walk will be kind to his teammate if and when Gennaro gets to the back of the second Sasol BMW. There's Simon Moss, driving with webbed feet today. Like a duck on a pond, except it's all smooth and serene for him. Everywhere you look, just driving away in front of this field. Johan Ferrari challenging, channeling all of his vast experience to keep this car pointing in a straight line. You can see the other issue that these drivers face in these wet conditions is that the cars will fog up. As Walk runs a little bit wide and goes too wide and just drops a couple of wheels off the road. That allows Bonafide to go through. And now it's Chris Shorter looking around the outside of Mandla Matakani, trying to make it a mini 1-2. Keegan Masters, who was crowned champion last time out, is just in behind that battle pack. So the water gets in these cars. The hot temperatures inside, cool temperatures outside with the precipitation means that often they fog up. So it's very challenging for these drivers trying to find their way through the spray and a misting up window on the inside. And often their visors will mist up as well on their racing helmets. So Van Rooyen now through on Michael Stephen. And the Rustenburg Rocket living up to his nickname. And this is Gennaro Bonafide way off the road. This is turning into a pretty damp day for Gennaro. Robert Walk repasses his teammate. We saw the concerned faces down at the VM Innovations camp before the start of this one. Vic Maharaj was watching on. It was always going to be a big job for Gennaro this weekend, but this race just has not gone to plan. And that's probably the understatement of the season so far. This is good, close. Big slide there for Matakani. Shorter looking up the inside through the sweeper into the braking zone to make it a mini 1-2. That's a nice pass. He's got it done. And Keegan Masters now looking on his teammate. Although Matakani's not done with yet, he'll get the over-under here, a switchback move. Good power down out of the right-hander. so many of them at this circuit, so it really loads up the left-hand side of the car, which in dry conditions is something they'll worry about, not so much in the wet. Johan just sliding car 14 around. Given such a new lease on his racing life after that brilliant victory at Kyalami. Just so well received amongst the racing fraternity. One of the greats of the sport who's achieved so much, but GTC success had been lacking. The same could be said for Simon Moss. He's yet to win in the category in 2 seasons. He's been second on 7 occasions this year. Hasn't quite been able to crack it for a victory. And there's a change of position as Hodges now goes past Michael Stevens. So you can bet they were on the radio again to Michael. Hey Mike, Gennaro's had more dramas. You can play the conservative game. All he needs to do is finish this race. And now the other Sasol BMW's off the road. They're taking it in turns in this race. Robert Wog just understeers wide at turn 1. It should be pointed out that while we had some wet racing last year, this is the first opportunity for a lot of these drivers to get any meaningful wet running on the Dunlop Sport Max wet weather tyre. Such a different scenario driving in these conditions than the pristine dry weather we've been accustomed to for the previous 8 rounds. And now Matakani and Masters are going at it. They're not worried about weather conditions. They want bragging rights. And Mandler would like to pass his championship-winning teammate. We're on board with Keegan. You can see on the dash, the lap time 1 minute 29. That's some 10 seconds a lap slower than where he qualified in the dry yesterday. Here's Moss. Whoa, big twitch, big moment down at turn 1. So even though he's leading the race, you can see how hard he's pushing, trying to use the available grip, and it is absolutely teeming down at Zwartkops. It's getting worse as this race goes on, and it's not just the rain they need to worry about, it's the standing water, the puddles. You experience it when you're driving your road car in heavy rain on a motorway. You hit a big puddle and the car feels like it drags and it starts to slide. Well, it's amplified in racing conditions. And Simon Moss pushing the friendship of grip levels to the limit in this one. Here's Liebenberg. What a good drive this has been. What a good season it's been for the Signature Motorsport team. It's been a great fight between himself and Chris Shorter. So Shorter is the one applying the pressure to Trevor Bland for 2nd and 3rd in the championships. Charles Smallberger is in the mix there as well. He's about 30 points behind Shorter coming into the weekend. Liebenberg not too far behind either, back in 5th place. So those 4 drivers all very closely matched. Let's look at the field. That's how they're spaced out. Back to Bonafide, who ironically now has car number 1 in his sights. But even finishing in front of him in this race won't change the almost inevitable outcome in the championship scenario for this season. 2 laps to go. Simon Moss is your leader. There's the margin back to Johan Fourie. Then we look back and find Michael van Rooyen. He's 3rd. Could he grab a podium? It would be every bit as good as a race victory for the Rustenburg Rocket. He's had a shocking season. You could write every bad luck script you could find and it wouldn't quite tally up to everything that's been thrown his way this season. And now Charles Smallberger just drops it off the road. He's not the only one to do that today. Charles had a pretty good season, a race victory and a pole position to his credit. And currently 5th in the GTC standings. Here's Simon. He's finding that Volkswagen that just came off the road. He'll cruise past. He's about to start his final lap. The young guy who's come up through the ranks in South African motorsport. Ironically, the man who's about to win the championship doubles as his race engineer. He's got a great relationship with Michael Stephen. And with Terry Moss, it's a real family operation at the Engen Xtreme team. He's got 1 lap to go. It's been a tough ask. He was on pole at East London earlier in the year. As I mentioned earlier, 2nd on 7 occasions, including a couple of times in 1-2 finishes to his teammate. But the rain has come to Zwartkops and Simon Moss has gone to the front of the field. And this has been a really impressive performance. 1 and 2 for the mini team. So they're maximising every opportunity they've got to try and elevate themselves up the order in the championship standings in the final few races of the year. The 2 factory Volkswagens just in behind. Here's Simon. Big margin. Loving these wet conditions. And what a huge performance it's been. We've had 4 different race winners so far this season. Oh, just gives himself a bit of a clip around the ear there because he had a big slide. He didn't need to do that. He doesn't need to push. He's only got a few corners to go. And Simon Moss, in the wettest of wet conditions we've yet seen in the Sasol GTC Championship, is about to add his name to a very prestigious winners list. 1 more corner to go. A maiden victory coming the way of Simon Moss for Engen Xtreme Racing. He will finally become a GTC winner. Well done, Simon. A great drive in the worst possible conditions. And to the delight of his team, Simon Moss has done it. Johan Ferré is second. And Michael Van Rooyen breaks through his first podium of the year. And that means everyone will have been on the podium in Sasol GTC. And how's this for form flying? Chris Shorter in front of Brad Liebenberg. The champion mini in front of the Ferodo car with the factory Volkswagen just in behind. A really impressive performance by this team. A 1-2 result with the final corner to come. And this GTC 2 battle will go right down to the final race in the fight for second in the championship. Chris Shorter continues to apply the pressure. He wins GTC 2 in a close finish with his teammate. Woohoo indeed. Well, there's your race winner, the 5th different winner of the season, and finally breaks through, and Johan Ferré second. And there is a championship moment for Michael Stephen. He is now a back-to-back champion in the Sasol GTC Africa Championship, and the gloves will be off in the final race. And that's a great moment. It's been a tense rivalry at times, but a salute between himself and Gennaro Bonafide. Well, great race. Simon Moss the winner. Ferré and Van Rooyen next. Hodges, Stephen, Bonafide, Rowe and Walk rounding out the top 8 in the Sasol GTC Championship. And in GTC 2, it's Shorter, Liebenberg and Masters. Great racing. Philippa is down with our winners.
Simon Moss, what conditions to get your first race win in GTC? Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it's been a long time coming. Well, from my side, I was hoping it was coming. Yeah, I had a great race. On the start, I was behind Mark, and I just checked I had a lot more pace. Got past him, and the biggest problem I had that whole race was in front of my windscreen, it was misted, and the only way I could see there was a hole about this big in the middle of the car. So I was driving like this the whole race on my own car. You'll see it. So I was very chuffed the way the car and everything was, and yeah, my first victory, and yeah, had a big lead over Jan and them, so I'm very chuffed with that.
A great weekend for you guys, taking out champion team, taking out the 2017 championship title and a race win as well, so you can't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I'm hoping for the reverse grid. Showed I've got the pace. I'll clean the window and I think I can get back to the lead and maybe pull a distance. Let's see what happens.
Michael Van Rooyen, you've had the toughest season of all the competitors in Sasol GTC. You must be thrilled to get your first podium finish.
Yes, it's about time. The second last race of the season, just made it. But yeah, it's great to be on the podium finally and finish off the season a little bit on a high note. The guys were falling off a little bit, and it was difficult to get traction in this wet weather. But it wasn't actually too difficult. The car was very good in the wet, so I'm looking forward to something similar in the next race.
Chris Shorter, congratulations on your second race win in GTC 2 this year. They were some trying conditions out there.
Thank you. Yeah, the conditions were really tricky. I made a couple of small mistakes. Just a big thanks to Brad for helping me out with championship points. I really appreciate it. And now going into race 2, we're pushing hard for that second in the championship. It's extremely close. It is extremely close, just 7 points between yourself and Trevor Bland, and he wants second just as badly as you do. So how are you going to approach race 2? Look, it's going to be a good fight, but I've enjoyed racing with Trev this year. It's always been clean, it's always been fair. So let's go out for 2017 and see what one last time in 2017 and see what we can do.
Well, there's the champion. He rolls into the garage out of this heavy rain here at Zwartkops Raceway. A champion drive too for Michael Stephen. He persevered through the conditions. He did everything he needed to do to take the championship, and he will celebrate with the boss. There's Terry Moss, back-to-back titles for this team, an outstanding result, and Michael Stephen is down talking to Philippa.
Michael Stephen, we can finally say congratulations on being our 2017 Sasol GTC champion.
For me, that was the best result. You know, I went out there, I was the front car, and it was slippery out there, and I thought, you know, I saw Simon was in front, Johan behind. I said, just no risk race, just get to the end, and you know, we can push for race 2 now.
How bad were the conditions out there? It just looked atrocious.
Yeah, it actually wasn't too bad. Obviously quite slippery. I thought there'd be a lot more standing water, but as I said, I just took it at probably 60% out there just to get to the end. You know, big well done to Simon. You know, the race went in the wet. Fantastic drive and great result for the team.
A great result for the team indeed, because Simon Moss gets his first victory and he will enjoy that trophy, that's for sure. There's the GTC 2 podium. On the left of screen is Keegan Masters. It's been a dominating year for the GTC 2 champion and all the success that's come his way.
He's undoubtedly been the standout of the GTC 2 field in 2017. With a double race win at round 1 in Cape Town, Keegan Masters put the whole field on notice early and never stopped being the dominant force all season.
2017 has been unbelievable for me. It's been such a blast, it's happened so quick. Coming from Polar Cup last year, it's been unbelievable. It's a faster car, heavier, and I'm surprised myself in getting so many fastest laps and pole positions. I'm very proud of myself and also proud of the team.
With 7 race wins and 4 pole positions so far, the 17-year-old sealed the GTC 2 title last time out at Kailami, taking over the reins from teammate Daniel Rowe, who claimed the inaugural production title last year.
Actually, all the teammates have helped me. Manla, Matthew Hodges, and yeah, Daniel. They got me through all the little tips and tricks in the car to learn about the ABS, because ABS was new, and also with the turbo. I came into the team not knowing many people, and they took me as one of their own, so I'm very, very happy with the team.
But it's his growth over the season that has impressed the team bosses the most, with Volkswagen Motorsport manager Mike Rowe singing the teenager's praises.
From coming out of Polar Cup, he was, you know, almost sort of 16, 17-year-old kid, and to see where he is now, and he's almost like a consummate professional now. He's right from his interviews, the way he deals with the media, the way he goes about his race weekends, everything. I think he's just learned so much. But I think in South Africa he really has made his mark, and I think he's got a great future ahead of him.
The experience this year has been unbelievable. I can't really describe how much I've learned this year. On and off the track, I'm blown away with this year. I'm super chuffed. Looking forward to finally running the #1 on my door in GTC 2 for next year. So it's going to be interesting, especially with the competition and everyone. They're going to fight. They're going to come back harder, all the other teams. So it's going to be awesome.
So for the final time in 2017, we go racing in the Sasol GTC Championship. The drivers are on the grid. There's some nervous faces as well. One of them is Trevor Bland. He's with Philippa.
It's an extremely close battle for second in GTC 2. Trevor Bland, how are the nerves?
Let's not talk about it. I'm shaking, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm sure Chris is going to make me work hard for it, but it would be really important for me, and I'd love it. But let's see what happens. It's a long race, so we can see what happens.
All right, good luck, TB.
Mr. Excitement has been second all season long. Chris Shorter, the man that could take it away from him in this race. It's not over in Sasol GTC either. Simon Moss could put the pressure on Gennaro Bonafide for second in the championship. There's the grid. So Robert Walk and Daniel Rowe on the front row thanks to the reverse grid inversion. Simon Moss, the winner, finally gets the task of going from the back of the field. GTC 2, there's Charles Smallberger in front of Nick Adcock, Trevor Bland and Madeline Manikani on the second row of the grid. Those 2 mini JCWs that were so good in race 1 go from the very back of this field. So here we go. It's been a remarkable season that's taken us the length and breadth of this great country with some amazing stories to tell. And this is the final race in the Sasol GTC season. We're racing at Zwartkops for the final time. Into turn 1. Drier conditions in this race. It's not brilliant, but it's definitely drier. And up the hill they go now. Walk and Rowe side by side. An arm wrestle there, and Michael Stephen, who's won all but one of the reverse grid races, and there's contact, and it's very busy behind. Trevor Bland has had contact. The man who's second in the championship. Crunch. Big hit with Nick Adcock. And Trevor pulling to the side of the road. That could be second in the championship gone. That's a huge moment. Up the hill they go. An arm wrestle for the race lead. So Michael Stephen has made these races his own. Here's Bonafide. Can he fight back? The final race of the year. Championship done. He doesn't need to worry about that now. He'd like to beat Simon Moss very much though. And off the road, Robert Walk, the race leader, all on his own. Just got the braking point wrong up there at the right-hander and ran the car off the road. There's Moss. So the lead changes hands, and it's a free pass to Michael Stephen, who has made winning these races his own over the course of the season. Wow, what a moment. Down the hill, turn one, Bonafide on Rowe there, wheel to wheel for second place. There's Johan Faree. Well, the dramatic moments in this championship just don't change, do they? Since the very opening round at Killarney at Cape Town, and it feels like an age ago. It just keeps serving up the twists and turns in a remarkable storyline that is season 2017. Now Moss and Bonafide are wheel to wheel. We've said that a lot about Sasol BMW versus Engen Audi this year. And still Bonafide holds on around the outside on the go-karting line. Big sideways moment, the car twitching under acceleration. He has to surrender that position, but I'm not sure there's anyone that could beat Simon Moss this weekend. His wet weather pace in that opener this morning was just extraordinary. And even in these slightly dry conditions, the rain has eased off, the track has dried. He's got great pace and he's coming forward in a hurry. Past the Volkswagen, he goes to second. So Audi 1 and 2, two exciting laps of 12 complete here at Zwartkops. It's a cool afternoon for our final race of the championship season. And what a remarkable season it's been. Michael Stephen, as I said before, has only lost one of these reverse grid races. 3 wide. More extraordinary racing as Liebenberg and Matakani fight it out for the race lead as Shorter tries to go to the outside. And Robbie Walker's caught in the middle of this, and it's a traffic jam at peak hour. Wowee, what a fight. 3 abreast and they all came out the other side, which is probably the most impressive thing out of all of that. Walk goes past the very brightly liveried car of Nick Adcock, who's made a good impression this weekend. Just a couple of rounds in GTC2 for him this season. So the Minis in front. That was a wild, wild battle for the lead in GTC2. And there is the forlorn sight of Trevor Bland parked on the side of the road. Unfortunately for Mr. Excitement, his season ends in the most unexciting way he could possibly imagine. He spoke to Butterflies on the grid as Robert Walk has a big moment and spins. All on his own. It's not been his day, it's fair to say. The end of his first season in the Sasol GTC Championship, now down the inside. Simon Moss takes the race lead. And Van Rooyen tries to take a position away from Johan Faree. They were second and third respectively in race 1. Van Rooyen delighted with a podium, and in a brilliant bit of statistical nous for the season, it means that every driver has got a trophy this season, which is great, great results for the depth of competition in Sasol GTC. Here's Keegan Masters. Well, he's had the grandstand seat in this race so far, watching that furious battle for the lead in GTC2 unfold in front of him. But now it's Liebenberg pulling away in car number 12. Chris Shorter next is in the box seat to grab second in the GTC 2 Championship, and that will be a quite remarkable outcome for this championship after the year that we've had and the furious racing in GTC 2. And that category, if you believe all of the rumours in the paddock, looks set to explode next year. There's a huge amount of interest of people looking to come in to the production category alongside Sasol GTC next year. And this championship fight at the outright level will entice more to come and play as well, I am sure, because it's been a remarkable storyline over the season. We ride out the back of Gennaro Bonafede, just gingerly applying the throttle. It hasn't been the day for the VM Innovations cars. Those 3 BMWs run out of that cab. Dramas for Mandler, to the exclamation of the crowd watching there at the third last corner at the top of the hill. He catches a very good slide, but it opens the door for his teammate to go down the inside. Mike Rowe, the boss of Volkswagen Motorsport, will be watching this from the pit lane garage with one eyebrow raised perhaps. His 2 young chargers go wheel to wheel. Great save from Mandler. Terrific catch. Wow, Van Rooyen, speaking of catches, wow, just held on to the Rustenburg rocket. Now Hodges goes down the inside and the Volkswagen just gets the elbows out as well on Van Rooyen. There's been more great catches here than at the Centurion Cricket Ground, which isn't too far away from this racetrack, one of the great homes of South African cricket. But better catching at this place. Amazing stuff. The reactions are razor sharp in GTC racing. None more so than this man. Finally a breakthrough victory. That's the oversteer. So just running out wide out of that final corner. Gets the right rear wheel out over the painted curb. And if you've ever slid on a painted line in a car park in wet conditions, that's exactly what it's like. The tyres spin up, the cars lose traction. And you have a big slide like what Simon Moss just experienced. So here's Van Rooyen on Bonafede. Fight outside the top 3 in this race. And there's a cheer squad cheering on. I don't know if they're cheering for Van Rooyen to move forward or for Gennaro to hold the position. It's a great fight. But that 32 car looks really twitchy. Doesn't look happy in these wet conditions. And Bonafede's having to work very, very hard to keep the Rustenburg rocket behind. Rejuvenated Hodges in behind, as we said during race 1 earlier today. Brilliant performance at Kyalami last time out. It's great to see the Volkswagens on form after what's been a frustrating season for the factory team. They've come on strong at the end of the season. It bodes well for season 2018. And now down the inside, Michael Van Rooyen looking to force the issue on Gennaro Bonafede. Is down the inside at 1, he switches sides for turn 2. That's part of the appeal of Zwartkops. He can pull the over-under manoeuvre. Bonafede smashes the rev limiter, smashes perhaps the left rear quarter of the Rustenburg rocket, but it doesn't matter because Van Rooyen has gone through. So he marches his way up the field. That car is good in the rain, and so too the driver. As this battle between Volkswagen and Mini continues. Tell you what, the V-Dubs have had it all this year. They've had to battle BMW and Audi in the top class, and they've had to battle the privateer Volkswagens, and then the factory cars in GTC 2. Moss is off the road, the race leader. Even he, with his wet weather prowess today, is not immune to making an error. He runs wide, and Michael Stephen need no further invitation. The champion goes through, and Simon Moss surrenders the race lead, and now has it all to do all over again. Just when you thought he would drive away, he runs the car off the road, and it shows you the knife edge these drivers are driving at. The percentage between keeping the car on the black stuff and firing it off into the green and the shrubbery off the side of the road is so small. And that's what Simon Moss found. But the pace that he's had in these wet conditions, whatever they've done to car 38, and however he's driving it, compared to his teammate, is working so well. And there it is. He just goes up the inside. And sure, Stephen doesn't need to fight for it, but I think he knows the pace advantage that his teammate has got is so much that there's not that much point putting on a fight. Simon Moss goes through, looking to become a double victor. It hasn't happened often this season. Gennaro Bonafide won both races at Cape Town, a great little Killarney Raceway in the opening round of the championship. But the introduction of the reverse grid races has made doing the double very, very difficult. And no one has done it since that opening round, including Michael Stephen. Keegan Masters now. He's had some double victories this season. He's been in superb touch. And now he's looking at Bradley Liebenberg. Good run through the sweeper. Under brakes, he's got the ideal racing line. Let's see what the Mini's like out wide, where there's often more grip in these wet conditions. And at this racetrack, if you can stay there, the circuit will turn back on itself and you might be able to hold on and get the inside for the next corner. Well, it hasn't worked that way. Liebenberg will try the switchback instead. Now he'll try and go down the inside. Masters just moves across to the middle of the road. Liebenberg, the door was left open. They're wheel to wheel. Well, if this is the epitaph for this season in GTC2, it's been well worthwhile. It's been furious racing since the opening round, and there's no let up, rain, hail or shine, as it turns out this year. And both the Minis wing mirrors have been folded back, so he's had battles to the left and battles to the right, Brad Liebenberg. He can't see what's behind him. He doesn't matter. He doesn't care. His eyes are on the Volkswagen in front. In this captivating battle for the race lead. Lap times in these conditions about 3 to 4 seconds faster than they were going in race 1 earlier today in those very, very wet conditions. The two Minis now hunting together. So not far to go in this one. Audis 1 and 2. Moss in front of Stephen. There's Daniel Rowe. He's been on the podium on 2 occasions this season. Get a third place finish, or will Michael Van Rooyen elevate himself into the top 3 for the second time this weekend? That would be a brilliant way to end what's been a really tough season. And even from afar, you feel like you're riding the roller coaster with MVR. His eyes are set to the back of the Volkswagen Jetta in front. Let's ride with him. Nice and smooth as you need to be in these wet conditions. And all throughout the year, MVR has professed that he's got the pace to run with the leaders, and we've seen that on occasion. There's been brief glimmers of form, but this so far is the weekend where it's all come together for him. Still got the job to do in this one. Rowe, the graduate, stepped up from GTC2, production class champion last year. Now has the job to do to defend from MVR in the final laps of a great season. There are the leaders. There'll be 2 laps to go. The Volkswagen now feels the need to defend. He covers his racing line. He moves his car to the middle of the road. But as we've seen today, you can go the long way round and get good traction out of that final corner. And that's what Van Rooyen's done there. He won't pass at turn 1, but perhaps turn 2 may be an opportunity for the Rustenburg Rocket. 4th place was his best finish coming into this weekend. He had a 4th place in qualifying early in the year as well. That was down at Port Elizabeth at the Circuit Aldo Scribanti. As I said, glimmers of form. Now a glimmer of 3rd because he's got up the inside of Daniel Rowe. Great power down out of turn 2. A good run through turn 3. And now he's P3 with a lap and a half to go in the season. Good pass, well judged move. And he could be staring down the barrel of a double podium to round out the season. There's Stephen. What an amazing season it's been. We've read off the statistics over the course of the year, but this 36-year-old is a fully qualified mechanical engineer. Not only is he the lead engineer at the Terry Moss Engen Xtreme racing team, but he's basically the team manager as well. Hails from Port Elizabeth, as does Simon Moss, who's leading this race and will have 1 lap to go this time around. multiple national champion, is in second place. He'll add another one to his incredible resume that now includes 2 Sasol GTC Championships, 3 times a winner in the Production Car Championship that was the forerunner to this class as the top category in South African motorsport. And what of Gennaro Bonafede, the young man from Johannesburg who fought and fought all season long. And he'll battle to the end of the year, and if he finishes where he is now, even with Simon Moss winning, he will get second in the championship. It's not the title win he was after, no, but it's still a great result for this promising young driver who's flying the flag, like so many, for the sport in this corner of the world. Simon Moss, up the hill he goes for the final time in 2017. It was a long time between drinks for this guy. He hadn't won in his Sasol GTC career. Well, if the drought broke in race 1, the rains continue in race 2. And Simon Moss will become a double victor at Zwartkops Raceway for the final time this year. Car 38 is the winner in the final race. It's a 1-2 for the champion team and the champion brand in 2017. A brilliant victory, recovered from coming off the road and drove the car to the flag. And now the fight for second in the championship in GTC 2 will go all the way to the line. Here's Keegan Masters. There's no doubt about his credentials. It's been a dominant season for the young man, who's been racing internationally as well with great success. It'll be Volkswagen leading Mini, but Chris Shorter is just going to have enough to get over the line in front of Trevor Bland for the final spots in the championship. What a showdown it's been in GTC 2. And so too for Sasol GTC. There's the winner. 2 wins this weekend, and thumbs up indeed for Simon Moss. He beats his teammate Michael Stephen, with Van Rooyen on the podium for a second time today. Volkswagens will Linus turn next, and there's celebrations. Michael Stephen is a champion. More steam than smoke in these wet conditions at Zwartkops, but suitable celebrations for the 2-time champ.
Simon Moss, we knew that you were determined, but 2 race wins in the final round of 2017. What a massive effort you've given today.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say a big thanks to my mechanics. Without the team behind me, Mark being my teammate, he's also my engineer. So to finish the year with 2 wins, I would never have expected that. I'm ecstatic. I'm very happy, and especially in the way I did it in the rain. First win by quite a distance, and then coming back from last to take the victory. I had a lot of pace, felt comfortable with the car all weekend, even in the jar. So yeah, I'm very chuffed, and yeah, end the weekend off with 2 wins and end the year. So let's start the year like that.
So to summarise, Keegan Masters wins the race in GTC 2 in front of Liebenberg and Shorter. And Shorter, he got second in the championship. He edges out a devastated Trevor Bland. Keegan Masters, though, is the champion. And what a season it's been for this young man. And in the outright class in Sasol GTC, it's Michael Stephen, the champ, over Bonafede, who holds out over Simon Moss. So, as the final champagne flies, we salute a remarkable year filled with tales to tell. From all of us, we thank you for being part of that story. We can't wait to welcome you back for more next year. Goodbye.
I sit here looking at the stars, playing games and chasing cars. Am I the king without a crown? I hear a voice inside me say,